Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dion, your 49er reporter here, back with a new video. Definitely want to get the particulars out of the way. Hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit that notification bell so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know we're all still hurting and probably still in tragedy mode, as far as the Super Bowl is concerned. Definitely painful, man. The loss still hurts. It can be a bit of a bitch, to kind of deal with all that. But unfortunately, guys, Super Bowl's lost. Time to move on. So, with that being said, gotta look at free agency. We got to look at free agency. The reason we need to look at free agency is because we have a pick in the first round and we don't pick again until the fifth. Because we traded away second, third, fourth, and even a fifth round pick, on Dee Ford, Emmanuel Sanders, and yeah, there was a lot. So we're going to have to look to free agency to be able to fill the spots on our team where we may need help. Because I can guarantee you some of the things that we need are not going to be found in the draft in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. So, let's go ahead and get right into things. I got my computer up. And let's see what we got, for free agency. So, the first thing we'll get into is the free agents that are coming from our team. Basically, anybody that's going to come for the Niners, to be able to go, and we have to see what we can do and, who we have, and basically who stays and who goes. I'm going to just make the assumption of a lot of these things and kind of see how this works. I definitely took a look at everything that I could as far as these free agents and to see, who does what and who goes where. So I'm just going to get started with this. First free agent we have is the guy that we mortgaged a lot of our draft on, and that is Emmanuel Sanders. So we gave up a ton of picks for him. Don't remember exactly which picks, but we did. We gave up a lot of picks for E-Man. And Emmanuel Sanders is 33. He did kind of have, a pretty basic season for us. There wasn't anything spectacular about his numbers or anything. But he was great for the growth of the receiving core and the people in the room. So I can say that, it was definitely a little bit frustrating when it comes down to, trading so much for him, but we still got some good things in return. So I can't be too mad about that. So the one thing is if we're looking at things from just a overall perspective, since E-Man came to us, he played 10 games. E-Man had 36 receptions on 53 targets, 502 yards, averaged 13.9 yards per catch, and he did have 3 touchdowns. So, for 10 games, are those numbers, jumping off the board, flying at you? Not necessarily. For 10 games to average 500 yards a game, 500 yards, to get 500 yards in total is definitely a beautiful thing. So, can't be too mad at that. When it comes down to it, I have to say that, his production was definitely well worth, the trade as it pertains to us giving up so much for him rather than, him being able to give us a whole bunch in return. Like I said, his basic thing was he was great for the growth of the young receivers on the squad. So, proud of him. He definitely loved the squad. He definitely liked the receivers. He loves the team. And I'm pretty sure E-Man would love to be back. But I think his future basically rode on the Super Bowl and if we won or not. I always felt like if we won, they were going to bring him back. If we lost, there you go. We wasted a bunch of draft picks on you, but you're 33. We'll move on with the younger receivers. So that was just my thought process. I do believe E-Man is a free agent and unfortunately does find another home for himself. Would I like to, see him back? I'm 50-50 on it because it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't make sense to bring him back because we have other receivers that are going to come next year that we'll need room for, basically. So we'll get into that in another video, but that's the first actual, free agent. And the next guy, I didn't see this coming. I thought we had him for a little bit longer than that. I'm gonna double check this one because it says Juice, but I don't think that's correct. I think there's something wrong with that, and he's actually okay. He's on the club option, so Juice will stay. Let's just skip past that. Next guy up, Jimmy Ward. Ward had a fantastic season. He did some pretty good things for us, had some good stops. Kind of worried about him. We used to call him Mr. Glass because he always was injured. And I mean, it's normal throughout your career. You have nicks and scrapes and everything like that. But, it definitely, you got to find a way to stay healthy because if you're not on the field, you're not producing, what good can you do? So, for Jimmy Ward, let's see, what were his numbers? We had so many people that did so much for us. All right, there we go. So Jimmy Ward played 13 games. That's great. 13 out of 16. Can't be mad at that. He had 51 tackles. Well, he had 60. I keep losing my place. Sorry. He had 65 total tackles, 51 solo, 14 combined. He did have a sack. He had 2 tackles for a loss. He had 8 passes defense, but he had no INTs. And Jimmy Ward, no forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, none of that stuff. But like I said, for us, Jimmy Ward was great. He did what he was supposed to do, and for Dub, I think he'll fetch a lot of money on the open market because the safety market is kind of dry. So with them seeing what he's capable of when he's healthy, he'll get himself a very lucrative deal, but teams will be a little cautious because of his injury history. So you may see him get a nice deal. You know what I mean? He'll probably get himself something good as far as, a good deal out there on the free agent market. Do we keep Dub? We try to. As long as the team doesn't outbid us, then he stays. And Jimmy Ward is definitely, somebody that I can see kind of staying around. He is 29, but I mean, hey, he's still got a couple of good years left in him, but we shall see. So next up, Jason Verrett. Long story short, it was a worthless pick. It was a waste of time. He's gone. End of discussion. Next up, Garrett Selleck, tight end, 32. Bye. Didn't do anything for us. Been injured all year, back problems on and off IR. I mean, it's a waste. Bye-bye. This next guy, would love to see what the 2020 salary cap brings because we need him. He showed up this year in a way that nobody else thought he would, and he balled out, and that's Arik Armstead. We need to get this guy back on the squad to keep that defensive line solidified with all our starters. We need to give Arik his money. Arik's going to have to get paid, and I know that we got to pay Defoe. I know we got to pay Kittle, you know what I'm saying? But Defoe got a 5th-year option. So we might pay Kittle before we pay Defoe. The reason being is we have that 5th-year option on DeForest Buckner, and George Kittle was a late round pick. So we don't have the time frame to be wiggling around with him. Like, we got to pay him. Because if we don't, somebody else is going to pay that man big money. Because look what he can do. You name a more complete tight end in the league. You can't. Because there isn't. So having a guy who can block, having a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield, you know what I mean? This is definitely like a beautiful thing. So Arik Armstead, 40-year, 54 total tackles, 32 solo, 22 combined, 10 sacks, 73, yards on those sacks. He had 13 and a half tackles for loss, 2 passes defensed, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. The dude balled out by all accounts, man. You know what I'm saying? So there isn't another guy on the squad that did what he did. He led the team in sacks with 10. So, you gotta appreciate him. You gotta love him, man. Arik Armstead definitely deserves to get paid, and we definitely need to keep him to keep our defensive line intact. So, Sean Coleman, he was supposed to be our swing tackle. He got injured in the preseason. We lost him for the year. Hadn't heard anything for the rest of him. Because of the emergence of Justin Skule and Daniel Brunskill, sorry, Sean Coleman, you're out. Gone. Ben Garland, definitely probably want to re-sign him just based on the what he did in the replacement of our center, Weston Richburg. So you definitely want to keep Ben Garland. You don't want him going anywhere. He's 32 years old. You'll get him. He's going to come cheap. You know what I'm saying? And definitely other teams are watching to see if he hits the free agent market, because he's definitely going to be a great backup and or starting center. He's proved he can do both. So you paid Weston Richburg all that money, so you're most likely going to keep him as your starter, but you want to have a viable backup. Ben Garland is that guy. Keep him. We got Levine Toilolo. 50-50. He may stay, he may go. Reason being is because we don't have a viable backup behind George that can catch the ball like George can catch the ball, but Toilolo is a great blocker. So when we have those running downs, where we run those 2 tight end sets, things of that, he's definitely well worth keeping to an extent, but that remains to be seen. Demontre Moore. Definitely would love to keep this guy. Sucked what happened to him. He came in, played great, broke his arm. Son of a bitch. But would love to keep him on the squad. At a bare minimum, we go into training camp, and, he wound up sitting, and nobody picked him up, which was definitely very confusing to me. Because after we cut him, I'm thinking to myself, somebody's going to go get this guy. But he's just at home sitting on the couch. So he most likely will kind of come back. We'll see if we can probably get him on a nice little lucrative deal. Don't have to pay him a ton of money, but he's a great backup to keep the defensive line depth going. Jordan Matthews, chuck the deuces. Fuck out of here. You were there for depth. You were never there to play. Dante Johnson, same thing. Chuck the deuces. You were there for depth. You were never there to play. You played a little bit for us, but Sheldon Day. Now, Sheldon Day is only 26 years old, and he did a pretty good job for us. He was great on rundowns because he was the guy we needed him to be. But for Sheldon Day, we just basically have to kind of think if we're really going to keep him and if he's going to stay. So Sheldon Day had 15 tackles, 10 solo, 5 on his own, 1 sack. He had 2 tackles for a loss, and that's pretty much the extent of what he did. He was a rotational player as a defensive tackle. And Day came in and did an admirable job, but I really don't see us keeping him. I see us letting him hit the free agent market because we're in hopes of some other guys that we can try to keep. So next up on the list after Sheldon Day, Anthony Zettel. We pretty much picked up Zettel because we needed some depth, and we needed to get another guy to come off the edge to be able to help out with the pass rush and to be able to spell Nick Bosa and or Dee Ford. Zettel came in and did what he was supposed to do. Love the guy. Possibility he might be able to stay because he understands the scheme. Salah definitely picked him up because of already knowing that. But I would say if you could get him on a nice little lucrative deal, good for depth. Good for depth. Next guy on the list, Ronald Blair. Blair went down with that torn ACL and broke a lot of our hearts because Ronald Blair is a man-child. He's great. Great when it comes to being a defensive end. He even slides in a defensive tackle every now and then. So you definitely want to re-sign Ronald Blair. You'll probably get him cheap. He only had 14 tackles. He only had 21 tackles, 14 solo, 7 as a combined. He did have 3 sacks, and he had 8 tackles for a loss. So you want to keep Ronald Blair for defensive line depth purely and solely. So you'll try to get him re-signed. You don't want him hitting the free agent market, going somewhere else and wrecking the league. And definitely don't want him going anywhere near Arizona and or Seattle and or even LA, because we just don't have the time for that. So next up, as far as our guys, Elijah Lee. Yeah, Lee's good on special teams, but he never developed really as a linebacker. And when he had a chance to be able to do so, he never really showed us much. So I can tell you right now, probably going to let Lee go. He's gone. Emmanuel Moseley. He's an exclusive rights free agent. Now, I'm not very familiar with what that means, but what I will tell you is he ain't going nowhere. We're going to sign that man. We're going to give him his money. And we're getting him at a point where he's only 24. So if we sign him to a lucrative deal, something that's very team friendly, I know Parag Marate is a genius with these damn with these contracts, man. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but that dude, man, he makes it happen. So Emmanuel Moseley stays. We'll re-sign him. Next up, Matt Breida. So Breida's a free agent. Breida's issue is he can't stay healthy, and he did have a little bit of a fumbling issue. So that's probably why you didn't see much of him. And everybody was saying, oh, well, you know, he's healthy. Why aren't we putting him? We don't put him in there because we don't want him to drop the damn ball. We don't need nobody stripping him or punching the ball out, man, and then we fuck around and find ourselves, you know, in a bad situation with our backs against the wall because Matt let the ball go or somebody, you know, forced a fumble, and then we're stuck. The thing is, our running back room is deep. We have Matt, we got Tevin, we got Jeff, we got Jerry, we got Raheem. So we have 5 backs. Now, what I'm scared of with Matt Breida is the fact that they'll let him go and they'll keep Jerick McKinnon. Now, I just heard Jerick McKinnon talk when they was doing little Super Bowl interviews and shit. I never knew that guy sounded like that. He sound almost as bad as Patrick Mahomes does. Which to me, I'm like, yo, what you think? Your balls ain't dropped, man? I don't know. And then at the same time, it's been 2 straight years he's been injured. So you leave it to me, cut the motherfucker. Let him go. Don't waste no more money on him, man. Stop paying this motherfucker to sit on the sidelines and be a goddamn cheerleader and not do anything. That's stupid. I feel like if you ain't here and you ain't producing, you need to get the fuck off. Because we're about trying to win championships and getting back to doing what we need to do. So we don't have time to be doing that. I say, you know, because Matt Breida will get, you know, a good amount of money on the, you know, on the open market. Guaranteed that man's going to fetch some money on the open market because people know what he can do, what he's capable of. He's great out the backfield, catching the ball. He's great as a runner. He's probably subpar as a blocker, but with Matt Breida, the type of guy he is, he's a quick twitch dude. He's, you know what I'm saying, he's shifty. He can make you miss, and he can go. 22.3 miles an hour does not lie. The real cheetah, Matt Breida. So, next guy up, need to re-sign this cat. KB, man. Kendrick Bourne. KB just, it's something about him, man. Like, I get it. I understand everybody, you know, and how they may feel about him. But I'm going to tell you right now, you know, I'm going to just give you Matt Breida's numbers here. 623 yards, 5.1 yards a carry. He only had 1 TD. You know what I'm saying? But he had 2 fumbles, and he lost one of those. So for them, I don't know. They may have just said Raheem and Tevin are the guys, and that's who they want to stick with. But it is what it is. So now you jump over to receiving. KB played all 16 games, 30 receptions, 358 yards, 11.9 yards a catch, had 5 TDs. His longest catch was 30 yards, and he had 4 big catches. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I have no reason to not like Kendrick Bourne, man. He was tied with Kittle for the most touchdowns on the squad. as far as receivers go. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy threw touchdowns to a bunch of different people, but that's because that's how Kyle Shanahan's system is, how he schemes it up. Like, you don't just throw touchdowns to one dude, you throw it to everybody. Everybody gets to eat. So that's the cool thing about the system. But KB produced for us when we needed him to, man. And he did what the fuck he was supposed to do. You know, so I say for Kendrick Bourne, I don't want him walking. I don't want him leaving. Keep him. KB, re-sign. Next up, Nick Mullins. Re-sign this motherfucker, because I guarantee you we cannot go into the next year with C.J. Beathard as the backup. I am so sorry. C.J., we should cut him and go ahead and re-sign Nick. We can get Nick cheap, and if we let Nick hit the open market, he's going to get paid. Somebody's going to overpay him because they might need a quarterback, or somebody's going to overpay him because there may be a bidding war for his backup services. But if we can get Nick to commit to us and stay and get him on a nice little lucrative deal, fuck it. If you got to pay Nick a couple million a year, I think he's well worth every penny to go ahead and do so. Next up, Ross Dwelley. I like Dwelley. Dwelley's a viable backup tight end behind George Kittle. So that's great. So for me, I say you keep Dwelley, you get him on a team-friendly deal. Very cheap, nothing to be worried about. Jeff Wilson Jr. Re-sign Beast Mode Jeff. That motherfucker be running. When he's called on, man, no. When he's called on, that guy makes it happen, okay? 5 total touchdowns this year, man. Come on. Jeff didn't have very many opportunities this year, but he did what the fuck he was supposed to do. I'm so sorry. To people who don't like Jeff, y'all must have slept on Jeff. Jeff had 27 carries for 105 yards. He averaged almost 4 yards a carry. That's great. That's damn good to me. And when it came down to it, Jeff had 4 touchdowns, man. Jeff himself, he had 4 touchdowns. I'm just saying, man. And his 4 touchdowns came in a span of 2 different games, and that's because those are the only times he really got the opportunities. But I mean, if you score 4 touchdowns in 2 games, that's 2 touchdowns a game, and that's exactly literally what he did. So there's no reason to say no to this dude. And he caught a receiving touchdown. Are you serious? Jeff caught that touchdown. I think that was the Arizona Cardinal game. Man, he took that shit straight to the motherfucking house. And the ball was behind him. So you don't let Jeff Wilson walk. No, you don't let Jeff Wilson go. No fucking where. I'd rather keep Jeff Wilson and Jerick McKinnon. At least the motherfucker stay healthy. I'm sorry. I know how people might feel. I don't like Jerick McKinnon, and I have no desire to see him in this system. Cut the dude. He cannot stay healthy. It's a waste of money. We could use that money to re-sign Eric. Because I guarantee I'm going to be real pissed if we let Eric walk, but Jerick McKinnon is still there, and this motherfucker goes down with another injury. I'm going to be pissed. That's some old bullshit. So, no. We have no desire to let Jeff go anywhere. Re-sign Jeff Wilson Jr. Next up, Daniel Brunskill. Automatic re-sign. We can move that motherfucker all over the line. This dude can play every position, save for center. And he might be able to do that. The dude could play guard. He could play tackle. I'm sorry. Re-sign Daniel Brunskill. Andrew Lauderdale, he's a tackle. I don't know who that dude is. He probably was. Let that dude go. He ain't worried about it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. That's almost 25 minutes of y'all time. I'm just going to tell y'all straight up. Keep it short, keep it simple. Juice, keep. Jimmy Ward, if you can get him on a team-friendly deal, keep. Eric Armstead, must resign. Ben Garland, must resign. DeMontre Moore, would love to get him. Got to resign him. Let's see here. Anthony Zettel for D-line depth. Definitely I would like to resign because he's pretty quick off the ball. Let's see here. Ronald Blair, resign. And Emmanuel Mosley, got to sign him. KB, keep him. Matt Breida, keep him. Nick Mullins, keep him. And pay that man a good wage so he don't go nowhere else. Jeff Wilson Jr., keep him. Ross Dwelley, I'm 50-50, but I'd say if you want an actual backup behind George Kittle that can catch the ball, you keep Ross Dwelley. Daniel Brunskill, keep him. Jeff Wilson, keep him. So out of all those free agents, I say we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 10 people that can go. And I don't care. But those are the list of the free agents that are coming up this year for 2020. And we got to figure out how to get all these people back. And so many people that are named that I would love to have back. But the reason that I say, the number one reason I say to let E-Man go is because E-Man can go somewhere else and help other people. We will have Trent Taylor coming back. We will have Jalen Hurd coming back. So our wide receiver room going to be as crowded as our damn running back room. So we got to be smart about things and make things happen. And E-Man, though he's a viable receiver, those guys are younger. They will give us more. And as long as the only thing I'm worried about with Jalen Hurd is that he has a back issue. Same thing with Trent Taylor, back problems. Those things can linger for years. I know. I have a messed up back. Even though I move around well, even though I work out easy, even though I can still run and do all the things I do, my back will creep up on me every now and then. And during the season, we don't need, Jalen Hurd or Trent Taylor going down with, back issues and problems and, stuff like that. But, hey, y'all, stay 49er faithful. Stay 49er blessed. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm going to be coming back at y'all with another video just on free agents in general and guys that I feel like we should be interested in to be able to help our squad. Gang, gang, 49er, gang, gang, bang, bang, Niner gang. And I'm out.